Today, Nora will be sharing with us her pathway sense of humor. Her project title, Tell Your Stories. Please welcome today, Nora Ellen, and Tell Your Stories.
I had so many ahas preparing this speech. It was so enlightening about humor and being funny and being able to tell stories, or at least one long story. That was my thought as I looked into this pathway, and what I was supposed to do is tell a 5-minute story. I immediately went into the Nora drama. What ideas are going to come to my mind? Then this is me. This is torture. But neither knows the struggle I have preparing speeches. Then I prayed. I calmed down. I started thinking. I love humor and I love stories. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, I am going to share some stories today. Not just one story, but different stories. And I thought, what stories do I know that are humorous? I could think about was the embarrassing things that have happened to me, my most embarrassing moments. Do I want to share it with my friends? I guess I'm going to. The first story is when my daughter was going off to college, and we were loading all her heavy suitcases in the car. And I put it in the last suitcase, and I pushed, and oh no! A noise came out of a certain part of my body. And Sarah, I'm not going to say the F word that you like so much when you describe those noises, because I went to charm school. My mom taught me etiquette, and you don't make bodily noises in front of anyone. To me, that is mortifying and humiliating. And as I've gotten older, I've noticed I've got to watch out for that. They tend to escape my body more frequently than I would like. In fact, I have to prepare myself if I'm going to cough. Make sure I look around. Nobody's there, just in case. From somewhere else in my body. Another time, I was in college. I was 19 years old. I was invited by Jeff Steig. This guy, 6'8". He was such a big hunk, and I really liked him a lot. Now, I was only 5'6", mind you, and I got tired of looking at Jeff like this. So I bought these high heel platforms. I was going to this ball he invited me to. It was very formal. I made my own dress. It was white. It came in at the shoulders. It fit me perfectly back in those days when I was thinner. And I made this lovely shawl with a ruffle around. Jeff picked me up in his bright white tuxedo. Off to the ball we went. We danced. We did the tango. We did the polka. We did the waltz. It was wonderful, and some very romantic songs, I might add. At the end of the night, after we left the dance floor, I looked at his nice white tuxedo. What did I see? My blood red lipstick all across his chest, because I was hugging him as I was dancing. I was mortified. I was so embarrassed. I hope he didn't notice. How could he not notice? So, of course, I had to say something before he got back to his room and saw the marks. We did have a good laugh about it. Another time was when I was in church, of all places. I was going to do the scripture reading at one of our evening services, and so was a friend, and a little devotional. I get up there. What happens? I start laughing. I start giggling uncontrollably. Not myself, of all places. Of course, my friend starts laughing, because laughter is contagious, right? She starts laughing. I could never get a hold of myself. She had to do the whole thing. And it's also fun to tell other people's stories. I actually remember other people's stories. And of course, again, it's the most embarrassing moments. One of my best friends, you don't know her, so she won't mind that I tell you this. You don't have to know her name. I'll change the name to protect the innocent. Georgia, I'll call her. She was at school in high school. She loved this guy, Frank. She was walking down the hall and she saw him. He was looking at her, but he was laughing so hard and pointing at her. And the kids around her were also laughing. She looks down. She didn't realize that she came out of the bathroom. Her skirt was tucked into her pantyhose. So she was so Now, this same friend later was walking down the hall again, coming out of the bathroom. And what stuck to her foot? You guessed it, that toilet paper. Same guy, still laughing. She didn't like him anymore. That was the end of that. And then her husband had a story that I remember to this day. Whenever I think about it, I laugh and I giggle. In fact, when I was putting my makeup on thinking about it, tears coming down my mascara. I had to give up putting on eye makeup today. He was at a presentation to a prospective client. And the client was whining about what the problem was they wanted him to fix. Well, he looks over at his fellow colleague, big kind of man, and all of a sudden he sees his stomach start jiggling, going up and down, up and down. His face was straight, but he was trying to stifle a laugh. Another way we tell stories, which is very common, is entertainment. I'm sure you all go to funny movies and you tell the stories from the funny movies. I watch a show called Just for Gags. It is hilarious. One time they had this very old lady in the grocery parking lot looking for someone to help her load her heavy bags in her car. Of course, people come along and they'll help. She hands them the key fob. They open the trunk, and what's in there? No, it's not a dead body. Guns, rifles, knives. And then these pretend policemen come along and she runs off with her hands up and runs away. Of course, everybody's faces are like, I can't believe what they just saw. That some old lady has all that ammunition in the car. It's like candid camera, and they'll tell the people, they'll show them the camera that just took a picture of them with this gag joke. Whether you're telling your own stories, I hope you have your own ahas, that you can tell stories. And it's nice to tell stories because people really love to laugh in life. And especially lately, we can use a lot of laughs, but don't do it at somebody else's expense. And be careful about telling your own stories. In case they're embarrassing, you have your permission to now share my stories, but please make sure you change my name to protect my innocence. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much for that, Nora. Can I get 1 minute on the timer?